This may be one of the most controversial videos I will make this year or even in my entire YouTube career, and that's because we will be looking at the very controversial plant, marijuana. And it's so controversial that no matter what I say today in this video, I will have haters, trolls and hate comments, but it's okay. And this is because marijuana has, let's say, two schools of thoughts that are basically extremes. One school of thought believes that marijuana is 100% completely harmful and should be totally avoided. Well, if that's the case, then why do medical people use the health benefits of marijuana to treat a list of illnesses, and that's called medical marijuana? Well, you could Google that up. And there's this other school of thought that believes that marijuana is perfectly harmless and will help you achieve perfect health, and that the government and the big pharma are hiding something because they want people to keep falling sick and keep making money. Well, why then do some people react negatively, terribly, and sometimes in deadly ways with the use of marijuana? Good. And so what is the balance? That is why I am here. In this video, we will address all of those. So is marijuana harmful? Is it harmless? Is it good or bad? Has it health benefits or health dangers? What are the boundaries, limits, rules, and advice? Let's do this. But first, let's hear from you. What do you think? Do you think marijuana should be legalized in all countries and for all individuals? What are your thoughts? What are your questions? Drop your comments in the comment section below. Share your thoughts and knowledge with others. And personally, I read and respond to every comment. Hello, my name is Dr. Malik Haruna King, and on this channel, I supply you with practical tips to help you stay healthy, fit and happy, and improve your personal performance and workplace productivity. And so if today is your first time here, consider hitting the subscribe button and turn on the notification icon so you'll be the first to get my videos right. Yes. First, a disclaimer. Everything I will say today does not reflect my personal beliefs or practice. No, I don't benefit in any way if marijuana is completely legalized in all countries and for all people. Also, I don't benefit in any way if it is completely banned in all countries and for all people. No, so I am neither pro-weed or anti-weed. But to stay safe, as usual, I will hide behind hardcore, current, cutting-edge science, reliable research, and recent medical studies and findings. And almost every sentence I will be making in this video is not personal, but have scientific backings. And I will be placing the links to these sources and studies and researches in the description section below, so do well to check them out. And note that science is progressive, and these findings are subject to change with time. Marijuana has several names and several strains and several compounds and several varieties. It is also called cannabis, and by the way, it has over 1,200 names, so don't worry too much if I use different names interchangeably in this video. Marijuana is a psychoactive drug, meaning that it influences the mind and emotions, and it can be used for medical purposes or for recreational purposes, and well, for spiritual purposes like the Rastafarians who use it as a sacrament, and for meditation. Cannabis can be consumed in many different ways. It can be smoked, it can be vaporized, it can be eaten in food, like some people put it in cookies. It can be made into cannabis tea. It can be made as it can be used as an extract. It can be made into capsules. It can be rubbed. It can even be used in toothpaste to brush your teeth. Cannabis has several compounds, over 500, including several cannabinoids, which are used to treat diseases or improve symptoms. And the main psychoactive part is tetrahydrocannabinol, THC. The countries with the highest use of cannabis among adults as of 2018 are Zambia, the United States, Canada, and Nigeria, according to the United Nations office on drugs and crime. But then it is used medically for several situations, like to improve appetite, to prevent vomiting, to treat chronic pain, to reduce seizures and spasm, and people with Parkinson's disease, with a post-traumatic stress disorder, with HIV/AIDS have been helped tremendously because it helps to improve some symptoms and in dramatic ways. But it is still prohibited in several countries because they conclude that it has high potential of abuse and severe dependence. And proper and complete scientific studies have been prevented by government regulations and prohibitions. But quickly, let's look at some popular concerns and popular questions people raise concerning marijuana. Number one, does weed cause lung cancer like smoking tobacco? Now, this is very complicated, but follow me carefully. Unlike what users of cannabis say, cannabis smoke is not harmless. It doesn't burn clean. Both tobacco and cannabis contain some toxic and carcinogenic compounds, that is, cancer-causing compounds, when burned or when smoked. And so vaping or consuming it in any other form, like eating, drinking, brushing it, reduces the amount of toxic substances. Now, this is what makes marijuana different from tobacco. While nicotine in tobacco can cause cancer growth, unlike tobacco, some compounds in cannabis are anti-cancer and can actually kill cancer cells. So you see, smoking weed is like a double-edged sword. So can weed cause cancer? Clearly, it contains some carcinogens when burned and smoked. These cancer-causing substances are significantly reduced when consumed in other ways other than smoking. And weed in itself has some cancer-killing properties. Also, heavy use increases the cancer risk. I hope you understand that. Number two, does cannabis cause mental diseases? Here is another complex one. Some research showed that cannabis can increase the risk of developing schizophrenia. But this is the ultimate question we need reliable answer to. Is it that cannabis directly increases the risk of schizophrenia and other psychiatric disorders, or is it that people with the risk of schizophrenia and other psychiatric disorders have the likelihood of trying cannabis? Or is it that cannabis simply speeds up psychiatric problems in people already predisposed or at the risk of having these psychiatric disorders? So we're dealing with some association game here. So there's epidemiological association, but no causal relationship. If you don't understand the last statement, don't worry about it, just ignore it. Number three, is weed addictive? Generally speaking, honestly, addiction is not a clear word. It is confusing. You could be addicted to movies, to tramadol, to sports, to tobacco, to gambling, to sugar, to cocaine, to video games, to alcohol, but these are not exactly the same feel or type of addiction. But generally, weed is addictive for only 9% of users. 91% of users don't show any form of addiction. Therefore, it is less addictive than cocaine, than sugar, than alcohol, and then tobacco. Now, some persons experience withdrawal symptoms with the use of cannabis. Now, this is the question. Is it addictive to people who already have addiction problems, like they have compromised dopaminergic system, or is it due to marijuana directly affecting the dopamine system and causing addiction? That is another deep question we must answer. But then again, it is scientifically considered almost impossible to overdose on weed or to consume lethal doses. That is to say, in common terms, that it is almost impossible to die directly from too much weed, scientifically. And this is because THC, the principal psychoactive constituent of cannabis, has very low toxicity. Number four, does cannabis have harmful psychological effects? Yes, it does. In some persons, not all persons. Within minutes and hours of consumption, it may cause anxiety and panic in some persons. It may impair attention, it may affect memory in the early stages of consumption, and it is logical to think that this may increase the risk of risky, abnormal behaviors and accidents. Well, although the use of phones while driving seem to cause more road accidents. Also, for some persons, within minutes and hours of consumption of cannabis, it could cause what we call temporal disintegration. And this simply means that the intoxication can hinder the mental processes of organizing and collecting your thoughts. Again, this doesn't happen to all people. So, but now, is it the weed that is directly causing this harmful psychological effect, or is it expressing something that is already in them, or what? Number 5, is marijuana a gateway drug? Does it lead to the use of other illegal drugs? Well, I don't have much to say about this, but this may be due to the fact that it is illegal and hence gotten from illegal sources that may also provide other illegal substances. I hope that's clear. That is to say, if the vendor of illegal substances have multiple illegal substances, the likelihood of you trying other illegal substances apart from marijuana is increased. So this is the question: if it were legal, would it lead to the use of other illegal drugs? Very good question. Number 6, is marijuana use safe in pregnancy or dangerous to the unborn child? While it is recommended that marijuana be stopped before and during pregnancy for the good of both the mother and the baby, and it makes sense to do so, if not for anything for the fact that we don't fully understand this plant. It is, however, seen that the use of marijuana during pregnancy does not appear to be associated with low birth weight or early delivery or some of the pregnancy complications we see with the use of tobacco and alcohol. But then please avoid it during pregnancy and breastfeeding, and don't give it to kids, or at least talk to your doctor or health care giver first. Number 7, does marijuana increase or decrease IQ or intelligence? Well, a lot of pro-weed folks claim it makes them smarter and gives them inspiration, while other users report a subjective reduction in IQ. But let's put this against the science and see how it stands. Studies on cognition and intelligence have been contradictory and largely inconclusive, especially because many factors are involved, like the amount of use, the duration of use, the duration of abstinence, the age of the person, and individual differences, and so on. However, in acute situations, that is within minutes and hours after consumption, cannabis may affect and impair cognition, memory, intelligence. However, this is largely reversible for most users. Also, poor school performance and increased incidence of leaving school have been associated with cannabis use. But then again, the issue of causal relationship arises. Is it weed causing the poor school performance and dropout, or the relatively natural low IQ predisposing the individual to the use of weed? We need to answer that. Number 8. What about other illnesses? Does cannabis also affect the physical health in any way? Well, I can't go addressing individual diseases, but generally, results have been inconsistent and largely inconclusive, and the issue of causal relationship seems to always arise. Is it that the weed is causing these diseases or these problems, or it is only bringing it out, or is it the disease that is predisposing the people to using a weed? This causal relationship always seem to arise. However, we see some limited emphasis on limited relationship between chronic and heavy marijuana smoking and some respiratory and breathing problems. But this risk is way lower for moderate use of cannabis compared to smoking tobacco. In relation to cardiovascular diseases like hypertension, evidence or the effect of marijuana is very unclear. Let me stop here. And you would have already noticed that there's no clear-cut straight answer, good, bad. And I might have ended up raising more questions than answering your questions. But these things, we know, these things are clear. If you say it is entirely good for everyone, you are wrong. And if you say it is entirely bad for everyone, you are wrong. Because as with most things in life, different people respond and react differently to weed. So there is no one-size-fits-all or generalized statements here. But take this home. Generally, from science, not personal, for moderate use consumed in ways apart from smoking, the positives outweigh the negatives. And I will repeat that. Generally, from science, for moderate use of cannabis consumed in ways apart from smoking, the positives outweigh the negatives. And because it is illegal, research has not been adequate. More research to gain more clarity, to settle associations, to answer questions is desperately needed. Personally, I don't use weed in any form, in case you're wondering. I've never used it before. Of course, as at the time of shooting this video, I've never used it before. Now over to you. Do you think marijuana should be legalized in all countries and for all individuals? Share your comment, drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Share your knowledge and comments with others, and personally I read and respond to every comment. So what are your thoughts? What are your questions? And wait, I have a free gift for you. It is a free book titled Fire Your Doctor, and it gives you 30 timeless tips to help you live healthy, happy, and enjoy better sex. And you can get it by clicking the link in the description section below, and it's free, right? Take charge of your health and happiness.